says preparing to live stream the meeting. And I know it does have a little bit of a delay. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking so it will have some talking and I can know immediately whether or not I have sound. Okay, done. Redirecting to YouTube. Who is calling? This is not the time to call. Okay. All right. Do we have sound? We do. I hear it myself. Okay, thank you, friend. And I know it does have a little bit of a delay. So good morning. So it will have some talking. All right. I am so ready to get this done and over with. Oh my gosh, love books. I have been working on this all morning. This is take 3. So if you have been here for take 1 or take 2 or both, I want to thank you for being patient with me and thank you for staying with me. So here we are. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, love bugs. It is your favorite motivator's favorite motivator, Mimi the Motivator, and this is the Get High on Motivation Show. Wow. You know, it's amazing sometimes. It's amazing to see myself on the screen and see how big I am smiling, knowing that I have just been challenged like a mug. That's a good response. And that's how you know that you are recognizing opportunity versus obstacle. That is not today's conversation, but I just wanted to share that with you. And it's definitely not our food for thought. So today we will have our food for thought. We'll have our conversation about why elevation will always require separation. So here we go with our food for thought. And stay to the end. We have a question about a dying dad and what to do. How do you bounce back, or how do you even deal with all that? So today's food for thought comes from Margaret Deland. Margaret Deland says, it is better to be lonely than wish to be alone. It is better to be lonely than to wish to be alone. Now, I am the type of person that loves to be alone. Like, I love it. Like, I hate waking up and seeing other people. I love waking up alone. Like, it's just like, I just wake up like just smiling and stretching and just grateful for the day when I am by myself. And I really like it. And then I definitely agree with this statement. I'd rather feel like that than feel like, why are you here? Why is this person next to me? Why are you talking to me? Why are you looking at me? Why are you, just think about those days when you're really trying to focus on something and you're really getting it in, you're concentrating, you're getting your work done. And then you have this person that keeps on distracting you, disturbing you, deterring you from your goals and whatnot. On those days, don't you wish you would be alone, right? Yeah. But then we have days where we complain about being lonely and we want people to be around. Me being out here in Colorado Springs, I get this sometimes because I'm here by myself. I really don't have friends here. I don't have any family here. So I have to get on the plane to go see people, to go socialize, to fellowship, and to be in communion with folks. But I do appreciate the time that I have alone. And I want to encourage you to do the same. Spend time with yourself. I believe that over this past year or so that you have been forced to evolve. Now, if you are the type of person who evolves on purpose, kudos for you. Congratulations. But for the rest of us who have been forced to evolve, we are a new people. You are a new person. And it may be time for you to take time to get to know this new person and to make sure this new person is who you desire to be. Because sometimes when we are forced to evolve, we may not evolve into the person we want to be. You might even evolve into an angry monster. But take that time to spend it with you and figure yourself out. Figure out what it is you really desire. Figure out where you really want to go in life, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, romantically, any of that. Figure out what it is. Figure out what it's like to be by yourself. I used to have a friend that never spent time at home. My friend was always gone, work, social, something, just always go, 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 go. Never at home. Only to, I don't know, poop, bathe, and shave, I guess, but not spending time with self. The question I have to ask someone like that is that if you don't want to spend time with yourself, why should anybody else, or why would anyone else? You obviously are in good company. Because if you were good company, then you would be fine with spending time with yourself. I am the best company, honey. I can turn up by myself. I can be quiet by myself. I can do all those things, and I love every single moment of it. The trigger for the depression and anxiety that a lot of people feel comes from this feeling of either loneliness or wanting to be alone. So what that tells me is that the real goal here is to really just be present. So when we are self, be present with self. And when we are with people, be present with the people and don't wish that they were gone. Embrace their presence. Now, if the people are overstepping boundaries, personal boundaries, professional boundaries, then you let them know, check them, draw the line and say, hey, you stay over there. I'm trying to do this over here. Now, that's not saying get away from me. It's just like, give me space to do what I got to do. Which just flows right on into the conversation, right? Of separation requiring elevation. Let's talk about why. Yeah, let's talk about why elevation requires separation. There's a few different things. One, everyone is not ready to go where you're going. Now, a lot of us like to push, pull, and drag our people to go towards our destiny with us, but it's your destiny. It's not their destiny. They have their own destiny. And wherever you're going, they just might not be ready. They might not be ready mentally. They might not be ready physically. They might not be ready spiritually, and that's okay. To this day, my favorite show is still Life is a Singular Journey, because it is. And when you figure that out, it changes the way you operate out here. Because your journey is your journey. Their journey is their journey. Their destination is their destination. And we can't all get there together. There are going to be some times where we have to go our own way. We're going to have to separate ourselves from the pack. We're going to have to separate ourselves from our friends. We're going to separate ourselves from our family. Separation requires elevation, love bug. And I know that you are ready to level up because you're listening to this show. Am I lying? Are you ready to level up? Yes or no? Are you ready to create more? Yes or no? Are you ready to experience more abundance? Yes or no? It's simple. So if you are answering yes to any of these questions, then that means you have to answer yes to separation. You have to answer yes to being alone and going alone in some of these things that you are working on, and trusting that the right people will show up on the path. What's another reason that elevation requires separation is because some people are only equipped to go part of the way with you. And what comes to mind immediately for me is when a rocket is taking off, it's like, and it's going up and it's got those little baby rockets or rocket boosters on the side. But once it gets up to a certain level, those things start falling away because those rocket boosters aren't meant to go to the heights that rocket is going. Some of the people in your life are not equipped, prepared, or even called to go to the heights that you have been called to go to and that you are working towards. You have to separate yourself and be okay with it. You have to be okay with people separating themselves from you. It's nothing personal, possibly. Or don't take this personal because this is personal. It's personal to their own personal world. When Jesus used to go up on the mount, he went up there by himself to go meditate. He didn't take the disciples with him. He said, y'all hang out down here. I'm finna go up there and elevate. And I always wonder, why didn't he take them with him? One, they might not be able to make the climb. So what happens if you take somebody on a hike or to climb a mountain that they're not prepared for? You may not even make it to the top because you may have to remain somewhere at the bottom with them. You have to be ready to climb this mountain of life by yourself. The weight will be a lot easier, a lot lighter than you trying to carry and push, pull, and drag people with you. Be okay with going it alone. The other thing I want to tell you is that this is a secret. You got to lean in a little bit. There's this slight chance that you might be the Beyonce of your group. You may be the James Brown. James Brown was making them feel good. but they wasn't feeling as good about his band and the other people on stage with him. So he was offered a position and an opportunity. Now, granted, he was like, man, I'm taking my people with me. But taking the people with him meant that they had to serve in the background, in a sense. And they weren't okay with that. I've had a similar situation in my life before. I'm a business owner, and I wanted to hire a friend of mine to assist me, basically to get stuff done. This person already does a lot of this anyway, and so I had suggested this, and I could just tell by the crickets that this was not a good idea. And I can understand, because sometimes our pride gets in the way, and sometimes people don't want to play in the background. They want to be the star as well. Everybody can't be the star. That's why Beyonce is Beyonce and no longer Destiny's Child. So maybe it's time for you to go do your Beyonce thing. It's time for you to separate from the group and go shine, and quit hanging around people that's dulling your shine, hanging around people that's dimming your light. In my community, we're like crabs in the barrel. We ain't trying to see nobody go up and go out. We ain't trying to see no elevation happen. But what I do know is that the crab that makes it out the barrel is the one who climbed up by himself. You got to let go of me. You can't be hanging on to me. I'm trying to get to the top. Now, if you're trying to get to the top with me, that means you got to work just as hard as I am working, because it requires energy to push, pull, and drag people. And right now, Love Bug, all the energy you have needs to go into what it is that you are doing, what it is that you desire to do, be, and have. That's what energy should be going towards at this time. And not going towards all these different things that you got going on in your life that's not really serving you, not really making you happy, but you keep on doing them. No. It's time for you to separate, Love Bug. It's probably time for you to separate from your fears. It's probably time for you to separate from some old habits. Because elevation requires a different version of you. It's going to require a lighter version of you. So you can't take all that baggage and all that burden that you've been carrying around for years upon years. Maybe even since you were a kid. You got to let that go, boo. Let it go. I just did a tarot reading the other day from the goddess Ixchel, and she said we have to release. We have to release that which no longer serves us. We have to make space for what we desire. And when we're making space, this is not just a physical making space. We have to make mental space. We have to make spiritual space. We have to make financial space for what we desire. So you might have to cut some of them subscriptions off and maybe not eat out as much and curb a couple other little things. So that way you have the income available to do what you really desire versus just going through the motions and keeping up with the Carters and Kardashians. I need tea, y'all. I want to tell you to take a risk of being by yourself, whether it is relationship wise, business wise, or just being in the house by yourself, going to the beach, going to the park, going to the mountain, and just be by yourself. Get to know you, get to know this new version of you, get to know who you want to be, get to know what you're being called to be. The thing is, you're being called to something. The vision, the desires that you have been implanted in you, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, to pull you towards who you are, who you came to this earth in this time, in this lifetime to be. What I truly believe is that you're listening to this show because you desire elevation. So, Love Bug, it's time for us to remove ourselves and get back on track and just know that whatever it is that we desire is ready and it's waiting for us, and we just got to jump on it. We have to accept the challenges of being separated. We have to know that it's okay, that the people that we're being separated from or that we're separating ourselves from, they'll be okay too. And they'll be there when you get back. But go ahead and take courage and go out there and be on your own, or go inside and be on your own. Go meditate and be with self. If you feel lonely, connect with the oneness. The oneness is all around you. The oneness is within you. So you are never alone. Love bugs, It's time for you to get madly obsessed with you, madly obsessed with what it is that you're working on. Put your whole self in that thing and flex those muscles you've been building up along the years and the days and the relationships and the opportunities. Know that everything that's coming your way is not a problem. Matter of fact, none of it's a problem. And if you called it a problem, it's because you called it a problem. You created it as a problem. You've identified it as a problem versus saying, hey, here is an opportunity for me, an opportunity for me to evolve, an opportunity for me to elevate. So here is our question for today. It comes from a young man that's dealing with some serious stuff, and I can understand. It says, hi, Mimi. Hey, Mimi. My dad has been on the ventilator due to COVID-19 and pneumonia. I am struggling. He is my best friend. Any advice? If anything happens, how will I recover and get back on my feet? How will I allow myself to heal? How will I be okay? If he does recover, I'm ready to continue to run and take all my PTO to help. I could use some positive vibes and thoughts. Your show helps me on a daily, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. Well, sweetheart, I have been there. I don't know how long you've been listening, but I have definitely been there where I've had to watch someone suffer. Now, it wasn't maybe to that level, but I watched them suffer and then they passed. And I'm okay. I have some days where I feel like, I feel a little down, and it's okay too. We have to know that it's okay. We have to be okay with separation. We have to be okay with being alone. But what I want to encourage you the most is to be present. Be present with dad. Be present with him. Let him know what he means to you, what his life has been a contribution to your life. But most importantly, I want to beg of you to give dad permission to say goodbye. Give dad permission to take that final rest. Tell him it's okay. Tell him he's put in his time and he's done his work. And it's okay if he wants to rest now. It's okay if he wants to go home now. Let him know you'll be okay. You don't know how you're going to do, but you know that you will be okay. And then you tell yourself that you will be okay. This hurts, but I'm okay. I don't like the way this feels, but I'm okay. And you may not believe it when you first start saying it, but continue to feed yourself the message that you are okay. And you will continue to be okay. You know who else is going to be okay? Dad is going to be okay. When dad elevates and separates from this world, he will no longer have the pain, the struggling, no ventilator, no COVID, no pneumonia. You let him know that. You let him know that if he is willing to rest, that he will feel better than he's ever felt before. We really have to give permission sometimes for those people who are struggling to stay alive, because sometimes they're struggling to stay alive just for us. And it's not fair. Be alive for dad. And allow dad to elevate. Love bugs, I love y'all. I'm so glad that you came this week. I'm so glad that you're here today. I hope that I get to have you back again next week. We do this every week, 30 minutes a day, where we get together and get our mind, our body, and our spirits right. We're working on being 1% better every single day in one area of our lives. So if you are listening, you have now been charged with becoming 1% better in your life every single day. I am Mimi the Motivator, your favorite motivator's favorite motivator. And this is the Get High on Motivation Show. Be happy, be healthy. But most importantly, love bug, it's time to really be you. I want to thank you YouTubers for joining me. Make sure that you have hit the subscribe and like button. Share this with your friends. Share this with your boo. Share this with somebody you know needs to separate themselves so they can elevate themselves. And if it's you, then you need to hit the replay and watch this again, or go find this show somewhere on a music or podcast streaming app.